Hello everyone, and welcome to this newest edition of A Question of Cosplay. This is Remlace from 40k Theories, and joining me today are my guests Render and Spectar. So firstly guys, thank you for joining me today.
No problem.
Yeah.
So my first question for you guys is, what got you into Warhammer 40,000 and Warhammer 40,000 cosplay?
Well, I've been a long time Warhammer fan. I started back in the 90s or something. So for me, it's always been one of my dream cosplays to kind of get together a suit of Space Marine armor and just tromp around being all cool.
Yeah.
So it's a lifelong dream. I might as well do it.
Fair enough.
I think I bullied you into doing it.
Yeah, you kind of did. I think it's because you were doing your Space Marine outfit, and you sort of said to me, "Oh, why don't you do something from 40k?" And I'm not as into it as you are, but I really like the aesthetic of it. So I was just like, "Oh, okay, then I might as well," sort of thing. And I really enjoyed it because there's like a big fan base in the UK, and it's really fun to just sort of meet everybody, sort of get all dressed up together, and yeah, it was really good fun. It just kind of went from there.
And how long have you guys been cosplaying for?
6 years.
Yeah, 2010 was when we started.
2010, yeah, so 6 years.
So how do you go about your process of designing your cosplays?
Well, I pretty much find a miniature that I really like and say, I'm going to cosplay that.
Do you ever have to take liberties with anything at all, just for convenience and ease of movement's sake or anything like that?
I'm going to say yeah. The problem with a lot of Space Marine cosplays is the fact that I'm not an 8 foot tall superhuman. So I do have to kind of fudge it a little bit, especially around the arms, just trying to actually make myself be able to move whilst I'm trying to walk around in it.
I remember when you were building it, he'd got these plans sort of in his head, and he'd been taking lots of references off the internet, and he'd sort of built this sort of structure out of foam for the body, and he said, I can't really move my arms. And I remember you just cutting a hole out of the arms, just be like, that's better.
And I just grabbed my hobby knife and went, yeah, I'll just cut this off. But what's the worst that could happen?
Fair enough. And in general, what are the reactions you receive for your cosplays?
Oh, well, the one that really sticks out in my head was when I went to, I did a full kit up at Warhammer World, and this little kid about 10 years old, he just kind of stood and stared at me. And his dad finally came over. Yeah, his dad came over and he was like, he plays Blood Angels, can you get his picture taken with you? I was like, yeah, sure, coming in. Do you want to hold the bolt pistol? And it just looked like his brain had exploded in awesomeness.
That's really adorable. Out of all your projects, which are the most and least expensive ones you've done?
Oh, your Space Marine.
The Space Marine is probably one of the more expensive ones, yeah.
How much does that set you back in total?
I dread to think what the actual amount was.
I think it must have been going on for like 800 quid.
Yeah, something at least 600.
It was ridiculous.
Definitely closing on the £1,000 mark if I'd have kept going, improving it.
And your least expensive?
Of the Warhammer ones, probably the Guardsman, because I had all the foam left over anyway.
Yeah.
So I just had to buy. I had clothing, had the foam. I just had to buy like the ammo pouches and stuff. The
ones that I've done haven't been too expensive. It's luckily for me. I've only had a few like armor bits to do, really.
Apart from all the prosthetics that you had to do for your Eldar.
Oh yeah, no, I've forgotten about that. Oh no, that was expensive. Yeah, the Eldar I think cost for me the most, because I bought all this prosthetic equipment to do like cast my ears and things.
Yeah.
And I'd gone through like what's it like the plasticky. What's it called?
Latex?
Yeah, I'd bought like this latex stuff, but I bought like 2 bulky packets which you mix together to make it. And it's kind of like latex, but not quite. So it's like pouring that into like different molds and trying to get it right and like smoothing it out. And I think I ended up casting about 2-3 times just to get them looking semi-decent. And I had this big cloak on which was made entirely out of pleather.
Yeah.
So I think it must have been like a good 3 meters of pleather. For my Sister of Battle, it didn't cost too much because I think I used a lot of offcuts that Matt had just left sort of around and about. And because there's not too much armour to do on that, I didn't find that I wasn't spending too much money to make it all, to sort of bring it all together, so...
Well, that was a lot like my Guardsman. It was sort of leftover fun.
Yeah, it was just offcuts. Yeah.
And have you got any new projects in the works?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do, don't you?
I'm working on ever since the Death Watch miniatures came out. I've been absolutely in love with the Watchmaster. So that was one model. I wandered into my local Games Workshop, saw it on the shelf, bought it immediately, and went, "I'm going to cosplay this." So that's my project for this year.
Fair enough. Aside from the incident you mentioned previously at Warhammer World with the 10-year-old kid, have you had any other experiences similar to that when you've been to conventions or anything like that?
Quite a few people came up to you in your Space Marine outfit because what we did is we dressed him up in it, and then we walked all the way through the 2 halls of Expo, and you were just sort of stomping your way through to the Games Workshop stand. And I think he must have been stopped at least 20 times.
Well, I mean, it was very hard to actually go anywhere, because every time I took like 3 steps, there was another horde of photographers around me.
I suppose that must be, quite good in a way. That's like recognition for all your hard work, isn't it?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the best thing about that was the fact that, I mean, at conventions, people, unless you're supremely tall, tend to only see like what everyone else like the crowd of people around you. But because I was like a good 12 inches taller than everyone because of the platforms I had on, it was a really awesome view of just like the convention floor. So
Yeah.
for me, that was the payoff, really, just to have that singularly unique view of the convention.
Have you ever had like an awkward moment at a convention? You're going in your Space Marine armor and you bump into someone wearing Chaos Space Marine armor or something like that?
Yes. It's a corn berserker. We're like, ooh, I'm watching you, you damn heretic.
I've met some Dark Eldar, like I think it was at AmeCon, just gone, and I was walking sort of through this archway, and I saw a tech priest, and he was getting some photos done, and the photographer was like, "Oh, why don't you join in?" So we were doing a couple of poses, and then these 2 Dark Eldar just come through, and there was just a moment where we looked at each other and went, "Oh."
I can imagine doing Dark Eldar Capital armor must be very complicated, just with all the curves and spines and stuff you've got to do for that.
Oh, I've looked into it, and it's something that's on my to-do list just because I really like how Dark Eldar look. But yeah, it's sort of the spiky parts are kind of off-putting me because of all the really small detail like that.
Yeah.
I'll stick with Space Marines.
Fair enough.
They're totally not harder to make or anything.
You've gotten used to it now. You've gotten into a rhythm.
Yeah, I've got everything down. I can do it now. I've done it once.
Do you have anyone that you guys look up to in regards to the whole cosplaying community?
Oh my god, yes, so many people. Rose and Bolt Shells,
Shells, definitely.
very good friends of ours and constant source of inspiration. I've also recently met Fabricator Jin when he came to London, and we had a good little talk about Space Marines and Warhammer costumes, and I think he's working on a Ferrus Manus cosplay at the moment, so he's going to be
Very nice.
big old Primarch. It's going to be super cool, and I'm so looking forward to it.
And what pieces of advice would you give to up-and-coming cosplayers?
Don't have a cat.
Yeah, definitely don't have cats.
As
You
if
can
all
hear him
points,
in the
I heard
back.
that, yes.
One of the biggest pieces of advice that I personally can give is to take your time with something, because it's something that I've sort of struggled with. Is sort of not rushing into things, doing your research, and also not worrying if your costume isn't fully accurate either, because I've sort of had to learn that the hard way. Cosplay is more about doing something that you love and doing something fun, and it at the end of the day, it shouldn't be something that you're going to worry about. It should be something that you enjoy doing, and I think that's definitely something that I've struggled to sort of learn. And yeah, the biggest piece of advice is take your time over doing something and have fun with it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, so just to add to that, I think the one piece of advice that I keep giving people: don't be afraid to start something again. If it's not up to your standards, like, just get rid of it, start it again. I think I started my Space Marine helmet 4 times. I'm on Mark 5 now, and I'm still not totally happy with it.
Okay, well, that's good advice for everyone to know. And I think that pretty much wraps up for the amount of questions I wish to ask you. So thank you very much for joining me today. For everyone listening, I will post a link in the video description to Render Inspector's Facebook page so you can check out all of their amazing work, so you can go and like it. So once again, thank you very much to Render Inspector for joining me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
And for everyone watching at home, this has been Remnants from 40k Theories, and we'll see you all again next time. Bye bye.